Without question, negative thoughts are something that we all experience, some of us more than others, and while part of this is how we're biologically wired, with all the information first passing through our amygdala, basically our brain's negatively biased primitive survival mechanism, the real problem has to do with not taking action on the daily constant negative thoughts that negatively impact our mental health, relationships, and quality of life. So in this video, we're going to dive into the action you can start taking today using a very powerful tool, a simple process called Pearl Habits method, which uses your existing negative thoughts as a prompt to flip those thoughts around into something of benefit to your life, which will also rewire your mind for this to become more automatic. What is going on, warriors? My name is John, your self-development coach, and this channel is all about sharing the knowledge and tools to help you build your warrior within to become your next level self. And when it comes to the quality of our thoughts, they literally dictate the direction your life will head in, the level of happiness you can actually experience. So first and foremost, regardless of how bad or out of control you feel your negative thoughts are, the fact that you're taking interest in making this change in your life is the most important thing right now. You are choosing to live your life on purpose instead of in a reactive and habitual way. Now, before we dive into the Pearl Habits method, I want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. This is something that none of us are strangers to, as negative thoughts can cross our minds in many forms. Whether it's negative self-talk, self-judgment, thinking negatively about other people, how you perceive the world to be, putting yourself down, etc. But the reason this is so damn important to address has to do with not only how much our thoughts impact the quality of our life and our happiness, but the fact that out of the 50 to 90,000 thoughts we have on a daily basis, roughly 90% of them are exactly the same as they were the previous day. Can you relate? Can you see the pattern in how many of these negative thoughts you have are simply repetitive? Then give me a sign of life by hitting the like button below. Now, I often get asked if this is even possible to completely stop negative thoughts or thinking, and the short answer is not really. We're emotional creatures alongside creatures of habit, and with this said, no matter how much you advance in any mindset practices to completely shift your thought patterns, there's always space for negative thinking to come through. But the key here is the actual work that can be done to navigate these thoughts and rewire them into the positive mindset category than the negative. Now, there are a variety of ways to do this, and you've probably tried some already. I mean, if so, then drop them into the comments and let us know if it even worked out for you or didn't. I use a few implementation methods personally and with my clients, but the focus of this video is specifically using the Pearl Habits method, since the only thing you need in order to start is basically a single negative thought. And it's also extremely effective for a few reasons that I'll be getting into later in this video, so make sure to stick around till the end of it. I went over the Pearl Habits method in great detail in the last video on this topic, which I encourage you to check out to really understand it. All the ways you can use it and the reasons why it's so effective in turning challenges into gifts. It'll be linked in the description along with the incredible book Tiny Habits that the concept came from, authored by Dr. Fogg, the world's leading expert on behavior and habit design. In a nutshell, to use this tool, you need three things to come together: the negative thought which prompts this exercise to begin, a new tiny behavior that follows the negative thought, this should take 30 seconds or less, and an instant celebration to generate the positive feel-good emotions. This can be either an action, it could be words, or a combination of them that, when you express this, legitimately feels good. This feel-good sense is coming from the neurotransmitters that you're stimulating in the brain that generates a feel-good emotion. These celebratory words in particular could be saying, "Good job," "Yes," "Awesome," "You did it," and or a physical motion like fist pumping or doing a 2 or 3 second dance. Think of an athlete when they score that goal or hit that new personal record, and the eruption of expression that comes through them. That is a very powerful celebration, and while you don't need to yell at the top of your lungs, unless that's what does it for you, you do need to find that something that you connect with. Words, an action, or both of them, and try to use that same means of celebration every single time you use Pearl Habits. And of course, the reason I have to emphasize the celebration is because one of the biggest things Dr. Fogg discovered in his 20 plus years of researching habit and human behavior design at Stanford University is that emotions create habits. Emotions are what fast track and wire in new behaviors and habits significantly faster than just repetition. And while I don't like to use the word biohacking too much, with the instant celebration part, you're basically using your own neurochemistry, our powerful feel-good brain chemical cocktails like dopamine, to your advantage for your personal growth. And hit the like button if you agree with how fucking awesome that is. Starting off with step number 1, the prompt of the negative thought, I don't want you to be overwhelmed here. So before you start trying to do this for every single negative thought that crosses your mind, it's best that you just pick one specific negative thought or negative thought category to anchor your new tiny behavior. Let's use the negative thought example in the shoulding category. This is basically one of the few forms of self-criticism that nearly every person has thoughts about. Taking this a step further, let's specify it into the health category. Anything along the lines of negative thoughts pertaining to I should eat healthier, I should exercise more, I should go to the gym, lose some weight. So now that we've specified a negative thought category, step number 1 is taken care of. This is your prompt now to trigger step number 2. But first, we need to choose the new tiny behavior. Again, this should be super simple and take less than 30 seconds to do. I actually find that one of the most effective and research-backed ways to actually rewire your brain for greater levels of positive thoughts and happiness is to use gratitude in some form. Now, some of you may be tempted to use affirmations instead, but the trouble with affirmations is that our brain has an extremely good bullshit detector. Basically, if it's not real, if it's not factual according to your underlying beliefs about yourself, then it's not going to work. So with gratitude, you can bring in the thought of a specific area of your health that you're grateful for. You can make the tiny behavior thinking of 3 things to be grateful for that contrast the negative thought, or even thinking of a specific person that's made an impact in your life that you're grateful for. Of course, this behavior you choose for this pearl habit could be physical as well. You could do 2 push-ups every time it happens, or send someone you care about a loving text message. Just make sure to keep it short and very simple. And definitely follow it up with your celebration every single time. Remember, the instant celebration is something that is very personalized to you, which sets off feel-good emotions. You cannot miss the step, as this is what's going to wire this behavior of a negative thought to a positive behavior much faster. Now, I'll definitely suggest trying out a few of the suggestions I made before and being creative with it until you find what you really connect with, what really works well for you. Remember, if it feels cheesy to you, then you're not going to connect well with it. You need to use something else. Personally, I tried a bunch that worked okay until I started using a specific word that really isn't even a word, which my brother and I used to say all the time and laugh about. Anyway, after all this, your first pearl habit will look something like, after I have a negative thought about my health, I will think about how grateful I am that I can walk, that I'm breathing, that my eyesight works. Then immediately say victory and feel the positive emotion from it. Now, once you've got this done, congratulations! You've created your first pearl habit and you're ready to create more as time goes on. With negative thoughts in particular, you can make one for each category of negative thought, alter the tiny behavior if you wish, and then use the same instant celebration for all of them. And you can either write this out or check the description for a printable card that you can use to outline your specific pearl habits. So I hope you understand that this goes much deeper into becoming a greater friend to yourself. Remember, if negative thoughts continue to go unchecked without any action, they'll become temperaments and possibly even personality traits, which can still be altered, but without your action, it can lead to more serious conditions like depression, substance abuse, and anxiety disorders. This is why I help people with altering this relationship that they have with themselves, how they think about themselves, treat themselves, speak about themselves. Our self-talk, especially navigating that nagging inner critic, is something that I've done a number of videos on that I highly suggest you check out next. Being a greater friend to yourself can completely alter any pathways that you may be afraid to be on that will lead you to mental health challenges and complications. Please know that the power to change is in your hands, and making it to this part of the video tells me that regardless of where you're at, you're taking the right steps. So I'll see you in the next one, warriors.